Severe Weather Preparedness Week is almost complete, and meteorologist Corey Smith has reminded us all how to protect ourselves and our families from tornadoes and hail already. Well, tonight he'll talk about the dangers of high winds, something we are all way too familiar with.
So far this week, we've talked about tornadoes and hail. It's time to talk about the last severe category, which is wind, which is actually the most impactful type of severe weather we see all year here in the Mid-South. Let's talk about how we get some of these stronger winds. And the first one is one that's pretty typical in the summer months, called a downburst. We talked about how storms thrive off of upward motion. It's how they get stronger. But sometimes that upward motion eventually weakens or even completely collapses, and all that rain and hail inside of a storm comes crashing back down to the earth in what we call a downburst or even a microburst on a smaller scale. But this can produce some very locally strong winds. We're talking 80 to 100 miles per hour, which in some cases could cause as much damage as a weak tornado. So this is really some serious wind that we're talking about, and this is also the case in what we typically see when we see squall lines. These are straight line winds, which can cause just as much damage at 80 to 100 mile per hour plus winds. And the reason for these is pretty much on the same scale of that downward motion from the rain, but also the temperature difference with these lines sometimes can be pretty strong as well, creating a very large gradient, which is what produces these strong winds in straight lines to move across. And that's why we call them straight line winds. So when it comes to preparing and what to do when we see these stronger winds moving through, it's actually pretty similar to a tornado. You want to get away from those outdoor walls and windows, get to an interior room, and try to stay inside as these winds pass through. Hopefully, some of these things we talked about this week help not only inform you about the weather we see, but also help to prepare in the months ahead. From the studio, I'm ABC 24 meteorologist Corey Smith.